Hi there, this is Shelby Shaper with Goodwill's Second Chance Studio, and today we will be making a 16th century inspired no-sew neck ruff out of thrifted materials from Goodwill. If you are unaware, this is a neck ruff. This is also a neck ruff. Neck ruffs became a popular accessory in the late 16th century in Europe and were typically made from starched linen or lace. Their sizes and shapes varied greatly and showed off the wearer's status and worth. These days, they can be seen in places like Renaissance fairs, theater and circus performances, comic conventions, and even just a fun accessory in alternative fashion. Comic conventions like Chicago C2E2, Motor City Comic Con, and MADX are going on all the time throughout the year, and Renaissance fair season is just around the corner. So we want you looking your best. They're an incredibly versatile and timeless costume piece, and today we are going to be learning how to make one out of thrifted materials. Don't forget to like this video and follow this channel for more DIY costume and cosplay projects. First things first, materials. Let's head over to Goodwill. We are on the lookout for long and sturdy pieces of fabric. Technically, you can make a ruff out of any material you want, but for today's project, we want material that is low on stretch and high on structure. If you pick out something that is too floppy or loose, you won't get these nice stiff ridges. You can use any number of thrifted items such as long dresses, curtains, skirts, lace, ribbon, pants, any number of things that might give your ruff a little bit of visual interest. I took a liking to the jeans and pants section and picked out a few pairs that would make for some pretty unique ruffs. They had the perfect structure and fun patterns and were nice and long. Depending on your neck size, you'll need roughly 50 to 65 inches of material. And I know not too many pairs of pants have a 65-inch inseam, but I have a workaround for connecting pieces of fabric. So don't get too caught up on that part. Finding long material just means you'll have to connect fewer pieces of fabric. Goodwill has a wide range of pants and jeans, and they will work perfectly for this project. And at around $5 to $7 a pair, this makes it a super affordable craft to make. A few yards of fabric can run you from anywhere from $10 to $30. And in the current age where fabric stores are not that common, using thrifted materials is sometimes even easier to find than brand new materials. Bag secured, time to start putting it together. You'll only need a few things for this project, so let's take a look. Your fabric: an iron, a glue gun, Velcro, a pair of fabric scissors, a fabric marking pencil like chalk, or just a white pencil will work well too, and then a ruler or measuring tape. The finished product is comprised of the ruffled edge, an inner neck lining, and the Velcro attachments. First thing you're going to do is take your pair of jeans or your other fabric and cut all of your longest pieces of fabric. In this case, we'll be cutting the top of the pants around the pockets and separating the two legs. Now for the neck lining. If you're working with a pair of pants, this part is super easy. All you'll need to do is cut the waist of the jeans off and make sure to cut super close to the seam, but not too close because then you'll end up with a frayed edge. Make sure to cut the belt loops off as well. If you're not working with pants and you're just working with a length of fabric, cut a piece of fabric out that is about 2 inches wide and at least 15 inches long. Then all you'll do is fold it over, press it down with an iron, and hot glue it together, making sure to tuck in your rough edges. Next, you're going to take your neck lining, wrap it around your neck, and measure it exactly to the length that you want it to be. I always steer on the side of caution and give myself a little breathing room. Once you have it measured, cut the excess off, give it a quick press, and put it to the side for now. While your iron is still on, we're going to take our material, fold it in half, and iron it down. Do this to all of your pieces of fabric. The ruffles in my example are about, or should I say, roughly, 2 inches in length. And since this is a folded over piece of fabric with a seam allowance of about a ½ inch, we're going to measure and cut 2.5 inch wide strips of our folded fabric. Remember to always cut on the non-folded side. Give them a quick iron before we move on. Next, we are going to take one end of each strip that we have and hot glue the rough edges down. Then we'll match up one clean edge with one rough edge. With the inside of the folded fabric facing towards you, hot glue the rough edge piece of the fabric on top of the clean edged fabric. That way, from the outside, the two joined pieces will look totally neat and clean. When you finish joining the pieces, you'll be left with one final rough edge. Hot glue that one down too, so both of your ends of your fabric look nice and clean. Fold the strip back over and iron down the seams you just made. Be careful not to press too hard on the hot glued seams, or the glue might melt out and stain your fabric and get on your iron. I know from experience. Once again, while your iron is on, press down the seams on each side of the fabric strip. I fold mine down roughly 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch. Make sure both sides are pretty even, as in the next step, we will be gluing them together. Once the entire length of fabric is pressed down, hot glue the seams closed. The next step is the fun part, adding the ruffles. And it's a little tricky at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's easy work. The waistband of a typical pair of pants is about 1 inch. You're going to take your length of fabric and fold it into 1 inch increments, accordion style. Every time you fold it, put a small dot of hot glue in the middle of the folded fabric and squash it down. Repeat until the entire length of your fabric is folded and glued. And as you're doing this, make sure that your ruffle peaks are all the same height. Your length of finished ruffle should have some stretch to it. This will help either in squishing your ruffles onto your neck lining or stretching them out to fit the entire length. Next, you're going to hot glue the ends of your neck lining closed so it does not fray. Don't worry, you won't see this, so it doesn't have to be too clean. Line up your ruffles with the seam side down on the neck lining and glue down the ends of the ruffles to the ends of the neck lining. This will ensure equal ruffle distribution when gluing down the rest of them. Then you will lift up each side of the ruffles and hot glue them down. Try not to let the hot glue melt out of the sides. The final step is to attach the Velcro. Even though the Velcro that I have has a sticky side, I like to err on the side of caution and hot glue that down too. And there you have it, a 16th century inspired ruff made out of thrifted materials from Goodwill. Perfect for cosplay, costumes, the Renaissance fair, or any other special event. For example, this entire Devil Jester costume was made entirely with thrifted materials from Goodwill. And this outfit would be perfect for the Renaissance fair. And this is actually something I wore to a gallery event. But this is just an example. We would love to see what you come up with when searching around your local Goodwill store. What kind of uses for ruffs can you find? And out of what kind of materials? We would love to see. Every thrifted find deserves a second chance. Thank you so much for watching. Again, like this video and follow this channel for more content like this.